सामीन सुम्बुल फारूक की जानिब से आप तमाम लोगों को अस्सलाम वालेकुम और खुशामदीद कहना चाहूँगी। इस ट्रांसमिशन में एक स्पेशल ट्रांसमिशन है जी, 64th नेशनल डे ऑफ चाइना सेलिब्रेट किया जा रहा है आज पे, और एक बहुत ही ज़बरदस्त सी इन्वायरमेंट जो है वो हमारे स्टूडियो में भी देखी जा सकती है। हमारे साथ गेस्ट मौजूद हैं यहाँ पे, उनसे आगे चल के बात ज़रूर करेंगे। लेकिन सबसे पहली बात जो यहाँ पे मैं करना चाहती हूँ वो ये, वाई चाइनीज़ लैंग्वेज। जिस तरह से आप लोग प्रोमोज़ भी सुन रहे होंगे, प्रोमोज़ हमारी ट्रांसमिशन का हिस्सा काफ़ी दिनों से रहे हैं, और आप लोगों को पता चल रहा होगा कि रिम्स जो है वो चाइनीज़ लैंग्वेज के जो कोर्सेज़ हैं उनको इंट्रोड्यूस करा रहे हैं आप लोगों के लिए। तो सबसे पहला सवाल ही ये पड़ता है, वाई Chinese language? The study of the Chinese language opens the way to different important fields such as Chinese politics, economy, history or archaeology. But to study Chinese also means to study the unique Chinese culture and its people. Chinese civilization has a rich heritage of novels, short stories, poetry, drama and more recently film. They reflect the values, the struggles, the sensibility, the joys and the sorrows of the great people. Yes, listeners, today in the studios of Riphah FM 102.2, it's not only me in the studios, but with me are two amazing guests with me. One is the culture counselor, Mr. Chang Jing Pao, and the other guest is Professor Joe. I welcome you both in my today's transmission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Good morning.
So, how is your experience today in this platform of Riphah FM 102.2?
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's good?
Yeah.
You like the environment?
Oh, yes.
All right. First of all, the very most important question that I think all the world needs to ask the Chinese people, the question is, what in your opinion is the reason behind China's success? The most awaited question. Yes, Mr. Chang Jingpao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think the main reason is that we have religious people, very hardworking, like Pakistani people.
Yes.
That's the main reason. And the second reason is the will. We want to be rich because we Chinese people and Pakistani people have the same feeling that we are not rich. We were not rich and we want to be rich. So everyone wanted to do hard work things and make everything better and better. That's the main reason.
And yes, Mr. Joe, what do you think is the secret behind China's success?
Yes, I think the first successful story for China, yes, of course, I agree to Mr. Zhang Yingbao's idea, but I think the major reason is because opening door policy as well as its reform policy after 1978. Because I think just 1979, China's per head of GDP is only half of that of Pakistan. But right now, our per head of GDP is 6 times larger than that of of Pakistan, and we are become number 2. I mean, on regard of economy scale. The reason for that is after 1978, we just pursued opening door policy. Even there are some terminal turbulence in 1989, maybe some other time, but China never changed its policy. So Mr. Deng Xiaoping and all his successor just keep on doing that without any change. So I think that in addition to Mr. Zhang Yingbao's opinion, I think one of the major factor is because China insists on its opening door policy and reform. Thank you.
Yes. जी सामीन, आप लोगों को फिर से एक बार खुशामदीद कहना चाहूँगी, वेलकम कहना चाहूँगी। जिन तमाम सामीन ने हमें अभी ट्यून इन किया है, आप लोगों को बताती चलूँ कि आज हम सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं 64th नेशनल डे ऑफ चाइना, और इस वक्त मेरे साथ स्टूडियोज़ में मौजूद हैं प्रोफेसर जो कि हैं चाइनीज़ जर्नलिस्ट और पाकिस्तान एक्सपर्ट हैं। इसके अलावा जो दूसरे गेस्ट मेरे साथ आज स्टूडियोज़ में मौजूद हैं वो हैं कल्चरल काउंसलर हैं वो जी, उनका नाम है चांग जिंग पाओ। और नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, आई एम गोना आस्क यू द नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. नेक्स्ट question comes in. Chinese economy has grown so far in the past years. So what do you think have been the reasons behind that economic success? Yes, Mr. Joe, you tell it first.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I just mentioned something that is for the last 35 years, we insist on the opening door policy and reform. That is to say, at the beginning, we just let the farmers to have their own will to do what they want. So we used to have a collective economy, but right now, based on collective economy, we encourage the people to do on their own businesses, especially for the last 22 years. We can see Chinese private economy developed very fast. Not only that, opening door policy means China should have a more interaction with other country, especially before 2005. I think most of the Chinese economy are oriented towards the outside world. But recently, China tried to meet domestic needs and try to make Chinese people to gain a lot of the economic outcome. Yes, we have to acknowledge there's a gap between the rich and the poor, and urban and rural, and the coast and the inland. But on the whole, we can say China is progressing day by day, month by month, year by year. And we can also see we have the dynamic, we have initiative all the time. No matter whether people are satisfied with the current government or not, one thing they are in common: we want China to be stronger,
Yes.
to be one of the strongest countries in the world. We want China to take off. So this is the main reason. So even sometimes I think the Chinese leader are very visible. They see not only for this 1 year economic development, but they have the long strategic plan for the future. They always think something about 20 years later, but they implement all their economic policy. Just what do we say, that is put it on the ground. That is all our policy should be adapted, should be accepted by the common people. All the policies should produce some substantial outcome. That what we mean outcome means that people gain a lot. People income increase. People have ability of going abroad to travel. You can see right now, most of the Chinese, I think at least 10% of Chinese people has been abroad to spend their money. We contribute a lot to the world economy. One of the reasons for that is, see, from Chinese people's mind, we are all the time, I think, one thing: we should take off. So Chinese leaders always think economic is first, and no matter what happened to China, we always put economic development on their priority. We never change that. We never think which political movement should influence, should deter our economic development. So that's Deng Xiaoping's policy. That is also the policy of his successors. Thank you.
Yes. China's economic success sets an example that the world should follow. But what about the education system of China? What do you have to say about the education system of China? Do you guys think that there should be more changes in the education system, or you think that that is also, up to the mark, and that is also one of the examples for the global world? What do you have to say about the education system of China?
Okay, can I just add something to that
Yes,
topic
sure,
again?
of course.
You just said the economic
Yes, sure.
progress in China is good.
Yes.
So I do agree with Professor Zhou, and
In fact, we all agree.
yeah, very good.
We all agree.
And because of the opening policy, we becoming better and better.
Yeah.
The people, and a lot main reason is that the management, the administration, or you can call it a system, political system. You see, from the 1970s till now, maybe around 40 years, our system, it remains the same. Even we do reform some minimal reforms, and our system is becoming better and better.
Yes.
Our government never going up and down. We
That's right.
always keep moving forward. That's the main reason. So especially the administration is very, very, very important for the country to develop step by step.
Yes. So now, what do you have to say about the education system
Yeah.
of China?
As I just Mr. Zhang mentioned, that is China just follow the steady, stable policy. We do not have the bumping policy. We just make progress step by step, gradually. On the regard of the education, I think there's a lot of changes. You see, before 1966, China has its education system, but mostly followed the former Soviet Union. During the Cultural Revolution, from 1966 to 1976, we can see China suffered a lot. The education almost lost because most of education are politics oriented. But after 1978 till now, Chinese education system changed a lot. First, we encourage invention, encourage creativeness. We encourage the university to have the linkage with those of the other countries. We encourage the students to go abroad for the further study, and who also bring a lot of the advanced technologies from outside, especially their way of teaching. We accept part of the British, American, and the European, most developed countries, good idea, but we do not copy that. We only just accept some which we think are useful to update our system, not to accept all the things, not like that is whether it's bad or good, we accept that. No. So our system, educational system, become more and more flexible. Even sometimes we adopt more students, more graduates, and go to the society. More students we adopt every year, more than 10 million, something like that. But we have to get more opportunity, more outlets for the students to find their way to to use their technology, to learn the way of living in the society, because they are high quality people. They should have high quality life. And also, I would like to say one thing. As a Councillor Zhang is here, more and more Pakistani students began to learn Chinese languages.
Yes.
And some of them, especially in our school, some people can speak, we can say, good Chinese languages, but not perfect.
Yes.
I'm saying good Chinese means people can understand them. I'm saying not perfect. They are not qualified enough to be an interpreter or translator. They still have a long way to go. So just now, Excellency, you with me, Mr. Hassan.
Yes, Mr. Rehan, the director of RIMS.
The director, you said
Yeah.
he just introduced me to one of the classroom. I hope all the students in Pakistan who learn Chinese language should just enjoy a smarter future. Not only just after they learn Chinese, they become jobless. That's what we need. We hope, you see. So this is not only we produce the students who study Chinese language, we should also just make some productivity through Chinese language learning. So I really hope that is through this program, I hope our Pindi people, our city people have the idea to learn Chinese language. Chinese language may never be, for the next 500 years, never be official language in the world or in Pakistan. But we can be the most friendly language towards Pakistan, towards the region.
Yes.
Thank you.
In global world, China is still seen as a developing country that has still maintained its cultural heritage, the most important. So how do you see this? This question is to Mr. Zhang Jingpao.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see this? That China has still maintained its cultural heritage.
Yeah.
How do you see this? What do you have to say about your cultural heritage?
Our cultural heritage, okay. We say we have 5,000 years heritage, and Pakistan have 7,000 cultural heritage, right?
Yes.
So we share the same heritage.
Yeah.
So in China, our economy is going better and better. The conditions is becoming better and better. So we put more and more money to the section of cultural heritage, cultural relics.
Yes.
And from the central government, the government, state government, we have Ministry of Culture, we have a general administration of national heritage. And at different provincial areas, we have different heritage administration organizations to manage it.
Yes, Mr. Zhou wants to add something.
Yes, I quite agree to Mr. Zhang's idea. I think the important thing, we should put our heritages into two parts. One is a spiritual part, another is a material part. As we mentioned, the material part, that is what Mr. Zhang mentioned, some relics, some ancient temples, some ancient saint place, which we just preserve them as not only the tourist view, but also as a heritage, and we apply to the UN for many times, which regarded as a world heritage, not only for China. On the other hand, as Mr. Zhang Yinbao mentioned, you see, I think Confucius College, Confucius culture is also our Chinese cultural heritage. We can say it's a spiritual heritage. Right now, Mr. Zhang and also I think there are so many Chinese cultural counselors in the world are in charge of a lot of operating of the Confucius colleges, and there are more and more Chinese teachers coming here. I do not know there's a professor here. You come from China? Yeah, so that is to say, even that is not necessarily government, but also you can see that not through the non-governmental channel, we have more and more Chinese teachers to be invited here to just to teach Chinese languages. Chinese language is also the part of the Chinese culture, spiritual cultural heritage. So that is to say, to preserve heritage, have the two way. One is just some saint place. We need to have some special people just to preserve the heritage. We can also see just the Kalakunlun Highway. There's 88 Chinese engineers just buried there. You see, there are 3 or 4, maybe right now it's 5 Pakistani people who always just safeguard that. I think after 100 years, it also can be regarded as China-Pakistan's mutual cultural heritage.
Yes.
So if we just mention something about heritage, we should have some more extensive perception, not only for some kind of same place, but also we mention some especially spiritual one, because sometimes ideology can be changed easily, and the language can be changed easily, but the culture may never change, even 7,000, 5,000 years. So what I really hope, the interaction between China and Pakistan, not only to preserve one heritage, because you are the same place of the Buddhism, but also should also be regarded by China as the place we respect so much. But how to have a mutual effort to protect our what do we say, our common cultural heritage. That's another issue. Thank you.
यस लिसनर्स, आप लोगों के लिए एक बार फिर से अनाउंस करती चलूँ कि आज हम सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं 64th नेशनल डे ऑफ चाइना, और बिल्कुल अब हम कंक्लूड करेंगे इस इंटरव्यू को. सर, द लास्ट क्वेश्चन वुड बी anything you want to say to the audiences, anything you want to say the people who are listening you right now, who have been the part of this interview, anything. The mic is all yours. First I would request Mr. Joe, say anything you want to say to the audience.
I think before you we come to the studio, you just now you asked a question about Chinese food. I would like to tell you about the Chinese food system. Let's say this way. We have the traditional 8 Chinese food system. That is to say, Chuan, Lu, Yue, Xiang, Hui, Huai, Min, Zhe. Chuan means the Sichuan province. These have their Sichuan flavor. Lu means the Shandong province. It's Confucius College. Yue means Guangdong province. You know, Hong Kong's food is also very well known in the world. Specific. And another one is Xiang, is the Hunan, I think is.
Or sir, I have heard South rice and North noodles. Is this term right? That the South people like to have rice and food, and the North people like to have noodles.
Yeah,
that's correct.
That's correct.
But actually, the Chinese food culture is much richer than, as you mentioned, South like rice and North like noodle.
It's just in general. Yeah.
Just
in general,
it's
because I've always heard about this.
It's more complicated than that, you see. So I hope that not only that kind of, it's a simple and maybe not deep perception on the China's food culture. But I think that if you, maybe next time you'd like me to introduce more something about Chinese food culture. Right now we have the 16 one old Chinese food system, 8. Right now we have a new 8 which is a strong additional one, which most of Chinese people even do not know. That's Dunhuang and Liaoning, Jilin, and Shanxi, I think, and Jinling, and Hangzhou Benbang, and Shanghai Benbang. I can just mention that because if you know the Chinese food culture, that's why our Pakistani friends to do the imitation, to duplicate that is a tough job, because you have to understand that different provinces, different flavor. So this is something, if next time the audience like to hear, I'd like to talk more about something about food culture.
Yeah, you're more than welcome always.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Mr.
Chang.
Yes, Mr. Shang, what do you have to say? The ending words for the audiences who have been the part of the interview, who are listening you right now. Anything, if you have to say anything about the 64th National Day of China, or anything you want to say.
Yeah, we have several activities to celebrate the 64th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. And also I'm very glad to be here to speak to the students and everybody. And I hope our dear students study harder, and we are trying to make more and more opportunities for the students to go into study in China. And I hope we will make more and more opportunities for Pakistani students to go to study in China. So welcome to study in China. Thank you.
And also I have one addition. You see, for the last 2 years, Mr. Zhang, under the leadership of our Ambassador Excellency
Mr.
Sun Weidong and Mr. Liu Jian, has already sent more than 1,000 students to go to China for the further study. This is a big increase.
Yes.
You know that is through Mr. Zhang's time, then sending Pakistani students going to China and inviting Chinese teacher come to Pakistan, increasing tremendously. Tremendously is a strong wave. So I hope that kind of wave can be continuous. Thank you.
Alright, thank you so very much to both the guests. जी सामीन, अब आप लोगों से हम लेंगे इजाज़त. आप लोगों के लिए एक बहुत ही खूबसूरत सी नशीद प्ले करने जा रहे हैं. इसके बाद आपको ज्वाइन करेंगे हमारे एंकर हमारी रेगुलर ट्रांसमिशन में. मुझे कहते हैं सुमुल फारूक और मैं आपके साथ रही इस स्पेशल इंटरव्यू में. हम लोग सेलिब्रेट कर रहे थे 64th नेशनल डे ऑफ चाइना. मुझे अपनी मेज़बान अपनी होस्ट सुमुल फारूक को अब आप देंगे इजाज़त.
मी हाउ रिफा इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ मीडिया साइंसेज अब ऑफर कर रहा है चाइनीज लैंग्वेज कोर्स. चाइनीज जबान सिखाने के लिए दाखिले जारी हैं. मजीद मालूमात के लिए राब्ता करें. फ़ोन 111510 510 एक्सटेंशन 272.